Hey, YouTube, it's that dude named Dave, and welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today's video, Britney Griner has been freed. As I'm recording this video on Thursday morning, December 8th, 2022, our State Department and President Biden has been able to secure the release of Britney Griner. If you're not aware, she's the WNBA player who traveled to Russia, who was found with vape cartridges in her travel bags. And at that point there, she was tried, convicted, and sentenced to 10 plus years in a Russian jail. But now they have secured her release. So let's get to the news video to get more details.
Have breaking news out of the White House. Brian, there is a report that President Biden is going to swap Britney Griner for arms dealer Victor Bout.
Lucas Tomlinson is live at the White House. What do we know this morning?
Well, good morning, guys. Fox News can confirm that 32-year-old WNBA star Britney Griner has been freed in a prisoner swap for Victor Bout, a convicted Russian arms dealer convicted back in 2011 for trying to kill U.S. service members in Colombia after he sold 800 surface-to-air missiles to a terrorist group in Colombia with the goal of shooting down an American helicopter. That prisoner swap, we're not sure where that has happened, likely in Switzerland, a neutral country, but Fox News can confirm that Britney Griner, who recall had been detained just days before Russia's invasion of Ukraine on drug charges. She had possessed some cannabis oil she claims was for pain. The Russians didn't see it that way. She detained and had just been sent to a penal colony last month. She was convicted to serve 9 years of hard labor at that penal colony, but efforts have been underway for the last few days. Of course, today is the 35th anniversary of the INF Treaty here at the White House when Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan signed that historic achievement to ban intermediate range missiles. Of course, Reagan had deployed the Pershing IIs to Europe, but I don't want to get too much into the weeds on that. But certainly today's historic significance because of that. Also, the 31st anniversary of the Soviet Union essentially dissolving in a hunting lodge outside Minsk. The leaders of Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus. Also, you have Christmas coming up. Many people say this was a good faith gesture from both the Russians and the United States, but who we're not hearing about is the former Marine Paul Whelan. Right now, we cannot confirm he's involved in this prisoner swap, so people are going to be talking about that right now, guys.
You're absolutely right. And Lucas, we're receiving word that apparently the President of the United States, we believe, is going to be addressing the nation at 8:30 this morning, probably in the East Room or more probably the Roosevelt Room.
Correct. We're hearing the Roosevelt Room right now, and President Biden will be addressing the country soon. We're just working on everything being set up right now.
And you said it's already happened. She is free now, right? She's coming back home?
Correct. She is in the air and coming back home.
That's great.
Okay. Lucas, thank you very much. Stand by for this. You know, what's interesting is they've only given us one name, Britney Griner, and the so-called merchant of death, the arms dealer that they're going to do a one-for-one swap on. It was our U.S. Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, who was on Face the Nation over the weekend. And he was talking about there were ongoing conversations with the Russians about a prisoner swap. And in particular, Britney Griner and the former Marine Paul Whelan's name did come up. Griner was convicted of smuggling narcotics, and Whelan has been in Russia since 2018, held on a fictitious espionage charge, something like 40 months or like that. But the Russians, what the Secretary of State revealed was the Russians were interested in a one-for-one swap. So if we only have one, we only know of one Russian we're giving up, that's the merchant of death. We only have Britney Griner's name. We would have to get another name to hear more about Paul Whelan. So let's hope that is the case.
Merchant of Death sounds terrible. What is this guy accused of?
He's an arms dealer.
Yeah, they say he's the Bill Gates of arms dealers. It was a major sting operation that took him down in 2008. The Russians have been trying to get him back.
Been held since 2012?
Yeah, it's been held in the United States in Marion prison facility. He was a former Soviet translator, used multiple air transport companies to smuggle weapons since the collapse of the Soviet Union. They do believe he has American blood on his hands. This was a top arrest. I imagine people sacrificed a lot to get him out. It's good that Britney Griner is coming back. She was forced to play over in Russia for different athletic opportunities, like a lot of women soccer players do. They go over there and play for Russia, make a ton of money. But this is the downside. It's a society run by a terrible government that at any moment can make you a prisoner.
Did we ever hear how they treated her in prison?
No, I don't think so. She had made a number of statements through her attorney. But what is interesting as well, if you're just joining us, Britney Griner has been released by the Russians.
She's coming home for Christmas.
She is. And it's a one-for-one prisoner swap. The president's going to talk in 18 minutes from the Roosevelt Room. But what's interesting about the fact that this was made is, keep in mind, there was so much political pressure on Joe Biden to do something to get her out. And, you know, we've seen every one of the press conferences he has had, or press availabilities for the most part, where people were able to ask any questions they want. Her name always came up and they said, we're working on it. Well, it looks like something finally has paid off, and we'll know more from the president in 18 minutes.
Okay.
And on that note, that's the end of the video here, guys. So I want to give my 2 cents here. First things first here. As an American, I am happy that Britney Griner is home, on the notion that I don't want to see any American in any prison cell across the pond, knowing that the conditions are worse than the prisoners that we have here in our own prison system here. Because even though we know we have an issue with our prison system here, we don't want to see anybody in these other prisons across in other countries here. But here's my issue here right now. Britney Griner put us in a state of national emergency here. And what I'm saying that is that we did a 1-for-1 prisoner swap with Victor Bout here. And if you're not aware, Google this man's name. They have done miniseries. They have done movies on him. His nickname is the Merchant of Death. And what I'm saying here, our State Department, our president of our United States had let every American know not to travel to Russia. And she went there because she felt that she needed to work. She needed to get the $1 million contract that she had in Russia. And what happened? She was detained with having those vape cartridges over there. So the point I want to say is that I don't even get upset about the vape cartridges. When somebody tells us, tribe, when somebody let us know not to do something, if our own government is saying to stay away from certain areas here, we need to do that here. She did not adhere to the instructions of our government. She didn't adhere to people saying that don't go over there here, but she felt that she needed to make money because of the fact that she's a professional basketball player. And what happened? She was detained and she was staying in the prison cell there. There's a reason why we get notifications and why people tell us to do certain things or not do certain things here. So on the notion of that here, I hope that other people can learn from Britney Griner's mistake here, and that when our own government tell us something here, let's take heed and warning and not do those things here. And number 2, if you are traveling as well, why are you keeping items of substance of contraband in your bag, especially when you go to another country? It is one thing here in the United States because we have very, very liberal laws. But as soon as you go to another country, you are subjected to them and you're not even an American citizen. Now, I understand that with Britney Griner, she's been to Russia for so many years, and the fact that she's probably done this so many times. But you can't say that you need to travel with your substance in your bag, that there's not someone in another country that you can buy it from. See, she put herself in harm's way by traveling with contraband. And tribe, if they're going to do this to someone like Britney Griner, who is a celebrity, who is someone who was huge in the WNBA, imagine what they'll do to the regular Joe Schmo everyday guy. And on top of that, too, there is still Paul Whelan, who is the man who's been detained over there, and he has not been released yet. So there are so many caveats, guys, but the main thing that we need to do and understand is not to do things so stupid that can cause us our freedom here. Comment, like, subscribe, and click on that bell notification below. I don't know what you guys think about Britney Griner being freed home. We're happy that she's going to be brought back on American soil prior to Christmas, and I know her family is happy, but what do you guys think on the matter? Until next time, I'm that dude named Dave. Shout out to YouTube world.